of Mindset to Lead. I'm really excited to have you here. And I wanted to say, first of all, congratulations, because you were just won Entrepreneur of the Year in Brisbane, Young Entrepreneur of the Year, may I add, which is even more amazing. So talk to us a little bit about that. Was that a surprise, or how did that come about?
I've been entering those awards for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. Won my first one with them back in 2016, which was Startup of the Year. So this is with a company called Business News Australia. And then, this year was a surprise. Entering a category, there was a lot more people, 300 people I think it was at this event. So to take out the award in the technology category was a shock. It was just incredible. And since then, what it's done for the business in the very short period of time, the people we've been able to connect to, that we weren't able to connect to before. So it's been really, really good.
Mm-hmm. So you don't win an award like that and go up against 300 people without having a pretty outstanding business. So how do you think then Lynkz is different from your competitors and other technology businesses?
Well, we all do different things. We all have, I guess, our value add to the customer. So I got asked that exact same question from a few other organizations recently, comparing us and other, AI businesses and what we do different versus them. So a lot of it is the technology or the stack that we use, as well as the skill sets. So you'll see some AI companies will leverage products like UiPath, or they're off-the-shelf products and they're delivering automation through those tools. Whereas with Lynkz, we've got developers on staff, we have data scientists on staff, testers, BAs. So we theoretically could architect the UiPath platform ourselves. So it's a very different sort of business model, very, different sort of outcome for the client as well. So, we're very, very unique. And I think that's why we've got a lot of the projects that we have. We can actually deliver an end-to-end, solution for our customers, where they're very much, off the, shelf sort of product.
Amazing. And how old is Lynkz now?
It's 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
So we've grown quite drastically in the last 2.5 years. The next few months are probably the most exciting for the business. We've secured some extremely large contracts. We're in the process of expanding internationally, which is part of the reason I think we actually won the award, was our expansion into Singapore and working with a client in Indonesia. And that project, among many others that we've got at the moment, we'll see the company triple in size in the next few months. So it's enormous growth, but that is all because of the staff and the clients that we deal with that have really enabled that. So
amazing. And so Lynkz wasn't obviously your first business. So what I'd love to know more about is, give us a little bit of a history, I guess, to yourself, and perhaps the lessons that you learned in your previous businesses that made Lynkz the great success that it is today. So talk to us a little about your history.
I'd say it's before I even got into IT. My very first career, I was a chef. So I started off cooking, and that kind of enabled me for high pressure. You're working in the kitchen, you're getting so much, say heat in the kitchen. It literally is like that. But you've got to push through, difficult situations. You've got to think on your feet and you've got to move quickly. But you have to work as a team. They're small kitchens, 3-4 chefs in a kitchen doing 150 people in a night. You have to work together. And if you don't, everything falls over. So there's a lot of things I learned there. And then going into the IT industry, it was at school, my passion was cooking and IT, and I always wanted to do it. And then working in customers, or for, organizations, not so much customers, for organizations, getting the, understanding as to what they actually wanted and what they were trying to achieve. Moving then into integrator land, I had a different perspective and a different view as to how organizations worked. So I spent about 10 years working in integrators, small all the way up to Data3, Dimension Data, Redify, DWS, very big organizations. And the last few of those organizations, I was tasked with building divisions inside the organization. So I learned a lot in those companies of what works well and what doesn't. So how to scale a business when it's a listed company, when you've got so much scrutiny over what you're doing, through to the smaller businesses that are being acquired. Like was it Redify when they were going through the process of being acquired, and that was Blue Sky Capital Investments. So that changes cultures, it changes businesses, and it did change that business. And then Braden Voigt took over them, and me moving into my own business, which was really started off the back of, I got frustrated seeing what organizations like those big SIs were doing to clients. It was a money grab exercise. It come across very much, they've got to make money, they've got shareholders they need to report to, and they do almost anything to get the revenue out of the client rather than thinking about the outcome. And I think that's why all of our customers, there's not one that doesn't come back to us, that's continued to work with us as a result of the good work we're doing. We partner with our customers. We don't just do it transactionally. So the business I did start was, or co-founded, was Six Pivot, and that was with a lady by the name of Faith, and we did really well. It was a great business, still is a great business today. We have a different focus. That business, or Six Pivot, is very focused towards the ISVs, and great business. Whereas Lynkz is more focused at AI. So we're a software development company, but our true focus is around artificial intelligence, machine learning, cognitive services, and that's where we've excelled, to the point where we're in the process of establishing a joint venture with one of our customers, building smart cameras using machine learning, and applying that with traffic management through to healthcare and mining and manufacturing, looking at potential issues that could be in the workplace of people falling over or something that's unsafe in a workplace, and picking up that actual scenario using computer vision. So, and that's kind of that's kind of the history.
That's your journey, and you mentioned in that quite a lot about people, scaling teams, culture. So, curious to know what your idea of a great culture is.
So I'll look at the different businesses, having worked in so many over the last 15 years. I've tried to take the good things from those businesses, and a lot of that comes down to the people. I've read so many articles and so many things that say culture's all driven by the top. It's defined at the top, but it's not driven by the top. It's driven by the people in the business. If you have one negative person in a business, it impacts the entire business. So I guess a good culture, and the culture we have, is we enable our staff, send them on conferences. If they want to go to events, we've got several actually that go to these conferences, active in River City Labs, and that kind of builds, I guess, the team sort of environment. And then we do things with the staff as well. So we've got our Christmas party coming up shortly, where we're taking everyone to the Wet Sundays. Last year we did Gold Coast, and then we have a mid-year event as well, where we bring all the staff in. So, and it's not just for staff. The Christmas party's for their families as well. So families and kids come along, because we think that the business operates like a team and a family. So if we include everyone's more happy. They just get along. It works. Mm-hmm. So it's important to have collaboration.
I absolutely love that, what you said about the team you see as family. I think that's really, really powerful. And since you've started Lynkz, I remember talking to you before, you've had very little turnover in your team. Yep. So talk a little bit about, you mentioned their training and development, but what else do you offer your staff to keep them happy and engaged?
I think it's the projects. If I look at the staff retention, we've had one person leave, and that's because they had their own company. We knew that before they joined, and it's part of our recruitment process. So looking at, just the way we do things, it is try and from day one, they do the interview. We make it very open. You can be innovative. You can have your own ideas. When you join the company, it's the same deal. We innovate as an organization, but we innovate in our customers. And it's a lot of our messaging is around that. So we won't just take what you tell us as the gospel and the way it needs to work. We understand technology. You understand our business, or your business. You tell us what you need to do, and we'll tell you how to evolve it. But the consultants are constantly involved in those decisions. It's not me making those decisions. We've got some really cool stories of, today one of the consultants decided that we need to do, we're actually building these cameras, and instead of fabricating it using printers, we're actually doing it with Lego. So they've got a box of Lego, and they're actually going to do it with Lego. So they think outside the box themselves. They don't need the leadership to do it; they just do it. So.
But that whole sort of being creative and allowing your team to do that comes from them feeling safe and secure from the leadership. So how have you enabled your team to feel safe and able just to come up with those ideas and run with it?
Well, they don't get pushback. I've never said no. There's several staff have come up with ideas, and I don't, shut it down straight away. I go, well, is it commercially viable? Can you commercialize this? So I run through the same scenarios, but openly, I would if I was going to commercialize something within the Lynkz business. So I treat them as equal rather than they're a staff member. And I think that has helped, when it comes to retaining staff, that's we're a team. You can't do things in isolation. You've got to do it as a team. So I think that's why.
So if someone comes to you with a new idea, then you say you don't just shut it down straight away. So what are the kind of questions that you ask to make sure that it is a good idea moving forward?
Who is your market? So who would you sell to? How would you charge for it? What would that look like? How much development effort is needed to actually build the product? And those first few questions, generally, you can come out with it pretty quickly whether or not it's a viable product. One of the staff come up with an idea of doing 457s, and the entire process of going through getting a visa being so problematic. Anyway, well, maybe we can automate it. Maybe there's better ways to do it. And there's a lot of resistance because of the way that process works, that we looked at and went, well, we could do it, but how would you charge for it? How would that all work? So it's not ready. The market's not ready for that. So we're like, we'll hold on to that idea, but there will be a time that we could actually do it. So we didn't say no, but we said, wait. The other thing is if they come up with ideas, we will invest in them. So we have one staff member that come up with an idea, and as a result, one of our biggest customers is using the product, and we're in the process of turning it into a full commercialized product, and he has a shareholding in it. So we're not greedy. We want our staff to reap the rewards as well. That comes down from making smart hiring choices. So what I love to dive into now is, what is your process when it comes to hiring? Quite complicated, you would know.
Yes.
So we have a multi-step process, which the first, step is a conversation with HR. That is really just to gauge what is the individual like. Those questions are not really focused towards what they've done in their career. It's more towards who they are as a person. So, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your spare time? What excites you when you get up in the morning? Is it to go to work, or is it, you do some form of martial arts, or what is it, that energizes you? And then the second interview is a technical test, which has been tweaked and changed based on the different types of work that we're doing, and given technology keeps changing, we tweak and change it. And then our third step is an interview generally with myself or one of the PCs or principal consultants, and the final step is an offer. And if you make it through all that, then you're straight into the business. And that's our recruitment process.
And so I love the way you do the HR piece first. So let's just say that you were presented with a candidate who you technically scored amazingly, and you thought, wow, this person's great on that sort of side. But how important to you in your business right now is the softer skills, that whole self-awareness, the motivation piece, and the collaboration?
It's extremely important in a consulting company. If you look at the market, there's really two types of businesses. You are a developer working in a consultancy, consulting to a client, or you are working in an internal product company. Consulting capability is extremely important, and the way that people engage and communicate is important. You can't pick that up in a technical test. You need to talk to the individual first, and then the hard skills come after that. If they're a great person and they can engage and everything, then you got a thumbs up. And unfortunately, some of the people don't pass the technical tests, but that's a skill that they can evolve. Try and evolve communication, engagement, team. It just doesn't work. That you either got that or you don't. You can learn bits and pieces, but some people just have that gift, which is why we do the recruitment process that way.
So I would completely agree with you, and I think that this is probably where a lot of particularly technology companies go wrong, is that they hire for skill as opposed to those softer skills, like the emotional intelligence, the communication piece, and then ultimately that then bites them down the path. So that's really interesting how you do that. And then in terms of, I guess, dealing then, if you've ever made a poor hire, maybe not at Lynkz but at Six Pivot, how do you go about then? How do you go about sort of working with that individual? Is it a case of you put them through some kind of formal training, and how do you go about sort of doing that appraisal? Because I think people that I work with, when they've made poor hires, it's a little bit of a challenge for them then to move them out of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you gone about that in the past?
Yeah, I've been in that in that situation before.
Yeah.
It's not an easy situation to be in. It's hard as a leader. It's even harder as an owner of a business when you're directly making those decisions. But if you don't make those decisions, you impact other people in the organization. As I said before, one bad egg can destroy your culture. So they're decisions you have to make. So yeah, definitely been in them before. Not at Six Pivot. You just actually the last few years we've never really had to make hard decisions that have resulted in any form of impact to the businesses. Previously in other organizations, yes. You bigger the company, you're hiring people, so many people, and you do make mistakes. So now it's a different sort of process in Lynkz that we can make sure that we don't have those issues. So, and as I said, we tweak and change it along the way. But
perfect.
You have them, unfortunately.
Yeah, you do. And I think that's all growing pains when you are starting a business. You sometimes do make the wrong hires, and there'll be a lot of people listening to this that will be thinking, God, I can't believe you've grown from 5 people to 20 people to 30 people. You're on about hiring 200 people, and you seem to have those processes and systems in place now, which is amazing.
We do. We hired a COO, Rod, who stepped in a couple of months ago. We've engaged a PR firm that's rebranding the entire company, prepping it for global growth. We're appointing a new chairman to the board. He'll start in December. We've made some quite hefty changes structurally, and that is to prepare us for what is about to come from a growth perspective. So, it's a if you don't do it right now, I know too well that it will break the business. So we're doing these things ready right now. So we're done now. We've got the people we need. It's now consultants and delivery personnel to basically scale it, which we're already on that path to get it ready. So
perfect. So you talked about how you get the company ready. Let's talk about how you get ready. So I am fascinated. So you are one of the most motivated individuals I've ever met. You've got this amazing drive about you, and I would love to understand, where does that come from? Is that something that you've always had, or has that been created along the way?
Well, there's two answers to that question. One's actually a touchy subject, which I will share. A lot of it was my upbringing. My dad was highly driven, but there was always a competition. So what I did find over the years is it kind of defined me as a person. And the drive that I have now as a result is to achieve. My mum's brother did the same thing, achieved so much. So I saw around it, I looked around, and then I went, well, I want to do that. I want to achieve. I want to make my family, I want to make everyone proud of what I can achieve. So that drove me, and coffee was the other thing.
Yeah.
That kind of keeps me going. But yeah, it was my upbringing.
Okay. That want and that need to make your parents proud.
Yeah. And now my whole family work for me as a result. So my brothers and my mum, they're in the business. But yeah, it was more to say that I can do it. No one will tell me that I can't. No one will ever tell me that I can't. It becomes a challenge and a driver to do it. So it has definitely defined me as a person. That kind of go or get 'em attitude, won't say no to anything. There's no such thing as can't. But I always have the whole fail fast. So culturally it is fail fast, let's move on. I'm very unlikely going to get reprimanded if it's something small, but if you don't tell me, I can't help you, therefore it turns into a big thing. So, and that's kind of stuck with me even in my personal life. If I do something, it's try and fail fast, move on. Can't fix it.
So, and that mindset, so how do you talk to me, do you have any morning routines or anything that you do to get yourself in that headspace every day?
It's more nighttime routines.
Okay.
It's changed recently. So, I'm getting up a lot earlier now than I used to. Just be a little bit more productive in the morning. You don't have people, calling you, and I'm always on the phone. So, getting up early has helped a lot over the last, 3-4 weeks. But I do have something that I've done for many, many years, and that is helped me grow and learn, which is every night time I'll sit there and I'll spend 2 hours, maybe 3 hours watching different videos. They might not be on, things to do as a leader or things to do as a CEO, but more just what's happening in the industry. You look at climate change, you look at manufacturing and construction, you look at what's happening with AI, people that are against it, you look at what Elon Musk is doing, what Richard Branson is doing, and it just sparks ideas. It's not honing in on certain skills, it's just looking generally. So I generally choose a topic and go, for this week I'm going to watch stuff related to, weather, and learn about all range of things. The next week will be about, large scale manufacturing of bridges. And I just find techniques that they're talking about good in my day-to-day life or even in the business. So different challenges I'll face day-to-day, I can go, oh, hang on a minute, I saw something over there in another industry that I can apply to what we're doing in the business. So that has helped me so much. And you can't stop learning, especially in this industry.
Yeah, totally agree. And for people who are budding entrepreneurs wanting to start their own business, what advice would you have for those types of people?
Get a mentor. Yeah, definitely. If you don't have a mentor, you're learning as you go, and the challenge is you will fail and then you don't know how to fix it. Whereas if you have a mentor and someone you can talk to and bounce ideas off, I find that you will fail a lot less, and won't actually fail. You'll be, behind the scenes going, well, which direction should I go? So having more than one is always great. But I've had, different mentors on and off, different parts of my career, because you change as a person, you learn new things, you adapt in different roles. But yeah, definitely have a mentor. Even as just a leader in a business, doesn't necessarily need to be a CEO. General managers, team leaders, have a mentor. You'll learn and grow a lot faster.
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you give to somebody who wanted to come and work for Lynkz in terms of the sort of characteristics that you would look for?
So there's a number, it depends on the role. So it really depends on the role. So if it's a consultant, that team upbeat, team focus, upbeat personality, willing to engage, willing to help their peers is extremely important. And then technical capability, obviously. When it comes to a leader, looking at someone like, Rod or any other of the people we have in the business, it's very much time management, because you get a lot to do and you've got to focus on the things that matter. So I have, myself, I have goals that I try and achieve weekly and daily, and the same applies for the leadership team. They should have goals that they should focus on, and people coming into the organization would expect the same things. They have a goal, they're driven as individuals, be that internally, externally, but they're just good people.
Mm-hmm. That's actually touched upon that whole goal setting, because I think that's really crucial, and I'm sure you would say that that's part of your success, is having a clear vision and a goal to work towards each week. So how do you go about setting goals?
For the company or personally?
Just maybe personally, company wise. Let's do personal first.
So with regards to that, so I have a weekly goal, which is more just I want to achieve a function or a task for the week. It could be something driven to a customer. It could be, something internally. My daily goals are just a driver that I know that if I get so busy throughout the day that I have to achieve that one goal or two goals. And I don't set many. It's just one or two for the day, one for the week. And I know that if I get through those over the month, then I've made some form of impact on the, massive list of things I need to do. You've got to prioritize all of those tasks. Some things can drop off, some things other people can do. So it's a matter of priority. It's a matter of impact to the people, impact to the staff, impact to the business, and impact to our customers. And that's kind of how I prioritize what I need to do. So whereas for the business, it's similar as well. It depends on, really impact. It's more customer driven than it is internally, how we prioritize those things.
Mm-hmm. Do you write your goals down?
No.
No. Interesting. Okay.
Because of the daily goals, I know what I've got to achieve, so I generally don't need to. Weekly goals, no, actually don't write them down at all. I know what I've got to achieve, and I just stick to it and make sure I get it done.
You just go for it.
Yeah.
Perfect. And one question that I think is, I always love to ask this, and it's all around success. So everyone thinks of success differently. So what, in your opinion, does success look like?
If you asked me that question 12 months ago, well, actually 2 years ago, I would have given you a very different answer.
Let's go 2 years ago. I'd quite like to know what it would have been 2 years ago.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, it would have been, money and status. Whereas now I look at it very differently. And a lot of the changes that I've made, over the last few months have been a result of looking at it differently. Success is being happy and comfortable, being healthy and having good friends, and, everyone around you is, I guess, having a good time. Money can change. Status can change at a drop of a hat, but your health shouldn't. And those other things shouldn't, which is why I get up earlier now, which is why I'm trying to look after myself, because if I look after myself, I can look after the staff. So although it's still important, it's not that's not what success is. Success is all of those things firing, equally. And it's funny, because there was a gentleman many, many years ago by the name of Scott Gosling, that works at Data3, that actually said to me, and it stuck with me for my life. He goes, there's a triangle, and on that triangle you have family and all these other things, and you need to make sure that they're all, together. You drop one and everything falls over, and it's so true. Which is now why I kind of look at it and go, you do those things.
Because you are a dad. You've got two boys.
Two boys.
Yep. Two beautiful boys. I've met them both. So how do you juggle that?
With much difficulty. So I have the kids every second weekend, and I'm lucky that Bryony is very supportive of what I do, and vice versa. So we have a great friendship. That even after separation, it's been great. Like I think it works, and especially for the kids. The kids, they come over and they have a good time, and we do everything we possibly can with them. So that's good.
And what advice would you give them when they start their career and?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I look at it now with the boys, and there's things that I'm doing now to try and get them ready for that. So a lot of the things that you see at the schools and what they do at home as children, they're only young, they're 8 and 4 years old. So their concentration levels are not the best, but the oldest is fascinated with things. So instead of it just being, okay, here's an Xbox, here's an iPad, one of the projects I mentioned before, we've got Raspberry Pis and we're building cameras and machine learning. So he broke his laptop, so let's get a Raspberry Pi and we'll start to build you a little laptop. So he got all excited about it and wanted to do that. So it's learning differently, and he does play games, but he's playing, farming simulator. So it's something stimulating, something that he's learning about something. So I don't like them playing, terrible shoot 'em up games. It's got to be games that are somewhat educational in their learning. So I guess for the kids, it's hard to say at that age what they want to do, but just enable them. Give them everything they can now until they're old enough to make the decision.
And I guess that all comes back to keeping your health in check, so you can obviously be that.
Them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I think what they'll learn from you is an amazing work ethic, which I think will be really powerful for them to watch as they grow and develop throughout their years. So, final question: what do you think it takes to be an amazing leader?
There's a couple traits that, as I said before, I guess they've changed over the years just with experience. But communication is a massive thing. I didn't appreciate it as much as I do now. Going through evolving as a person, that you spend the last 4 or 5 years that I've kind of gone, you really need to have that quality, and you need to do it well, but not just communicating to people, but listening. You need to listen to what people are saying in the organization. There's so many articles, so many things that talk about, top level of the organization, CXO knowing nothing about the operation of the business. You're being told, just listen, observe and listen. So communication is a big thing. The team environment, you've got to be able to build a culture, help a culture evolve. So that's also, I guess, very important. And just willingness to learn. You don't know everything. You never will know everything. Continue to learn, continue to evolve as an individual.
And if there's something that you don't know, how do you go about that? Because I think what's really powerful about leaders who could almost admit that they don't know everything and showing their vulnerability. So how do you go about if someone comes to you and you don't know something?
So the staff do it. So the staff will ask me a question, and it's like, oh, well, we could do it this way. What do you think? So I put it back on them as well. So it's not just me making a decision or me trying to guess what it could be right. get other people's, thoughts. And as I said, I watch a lot of YouTube videos and read a lot of things. And so if I don't know the answer, I'll explore it. But if I genuinely don't know the answer and someone asks me, I'll just go research. I'll go talk to a few people and find out. Because you just don't know everything, and you can make mistakes. If you say, yes, do it this way, and you're not confident or comfortable with that, you'll make a mistake. And then you'll look like the idiot when you could have just said, I don't know. Yeah. I'll go and check.
Yeah, amazing. Braden, thank you so much for your time. Welcome. It's been an absolute honour to have you here today, and look forward to working with you a lot more in the future. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Mindfully podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with at least one of your friends, and please leave a comment. Please like this podcast. It would mean the world to me. Let's connect. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Georgie Hubbard on LinkedIn. Georgie L. Hubbard on Instagram. I hope you have a beautiful day. I look forward to bringing you lots more content, lots more value, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.